And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You got the Pokemon Professor here, and today I'm bringing you week 1 of Draft Jam. This is our league where it is kind of designed more towards an Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon league. Certain threats such as certain threats such as, what am I blanking on? The big hitters, right? The Great Test. There we go. There we go. Me and Xiao, things like that are taken out of the league. And somewhat of a UU draft league if you had to compare it to something. And this week we take on Golda Dragons and his, I believe, Rome Empoleons. I don't know if I've ever played Golda before, but excited to. I think this league, my favorite thing about it is a lot of good coaches. So really excited to test myself from a competitive and team building aspect. So I think team builders are going to be my favorite part of this season in this league. Team builders will be coming out on Friday, and then the match will be up on Saturday. So make sure to check Golda out, check all the other coaches that down below, and show some love to your boy, the Pokemon Professor, coach of your Drunkenfist Decidui. Looking at my opponent's team, his team consists of Iron Treads, Raging Bolt, Iron Boulder, Mesprit, Zarude, Gyarados, Primarina, Brambleghast, Revavroom, and Umbreon. The 6 that I expect him to bring are the Iron Treads, Raging Bolt, Tera Iron Boulder for sure, I think, Gyarados, Primarina, Lastmon, maybe Zarude, Lastmon, maybe Tera Revavroom, or Tera Umbreon. If I have to go with my gut, maybe the Umbreon, Tera Poison. Maybe you're going to bluff the Iron Boulder, or just play it to where you have an offensive Tera and a defensive Tera. I think defensively, Tera Poison, Umbreon is really hard to break through. It lands all of its toxics, it gets up big wishes, things like that. So I won't be surprised if I see that. And then of course Boulder, whatever offensive Tera he wants to be, rock, fighting, ground, you name it, right? So those are the mons that I expect, and because of that, the mons that I am bringing this week are Choice Scarf Mienshao, mon number 1. I am Terra Ground with the CC, Triple Axle, U-Turn, and Poison Jab. Max in my attack, and then max in my speed Jolly. The reason for this is with my Choice Scarf, I outspeed everything, unless you are the booster speed Iron Boulder. If I can play and position this thing correctly, right, running the attacks that I have, if I can wear down that Primarina, CC is super free. Triple Axle is super free. I just need to see if you are the Tera Poison Umbreon, but depending on how that is, I may be able to just late game with Urshifu, or not Urshifu, with Mienshao. I think it threw me off because its name is Shifu. So this is definitely going to be my late game win con. Tera Ground, just to bluff the Raging Bolt, right? Kind of prevents him from wanting to click something like the Thunderclap, and just kind of going with that, right? You gotta play a mind game or two. Mon number 2 is gonna be Coach, my Cinderace. Heavy Duty Boots, Libero. Oh, I am Regenerator on Mienshao, but Libero on Ace, Court Change, Taunt, Sucker Punch, and Pyro Ball. 80 in my HP, 252 in my attack, 4 in my Spadef, and then 172 in my speed Jolly. Speed-wise, I'm running enough for Adamant Boulder. You could be something like just Adamant Choice Band, Terra Rock, Mighty Cleave, and just want to make it really hard for my team to switch into. So if I could get the jump on that, that would be awesome. Outside of that, I really like having Sucker Punch, just in case you are going to Tera Poison the Umbreon, and you do leave this the Psychic type. Sucker Punch does so much with the Libero change. Pyro Ball is relatively difficult for my opponent's team to switch into, hitting the Revavroom, the Brambleghast, the Zarude. Mesprit really doesn't want to take it. Raging Bolt, can take it, but again, if you come in, you lose your booster possibility, so that's always going to be nice. It's just hard. Primarina can take it, but it is what it is. We have other mons in the back to hopefully handle Primarina if we play our cards right. So I'm not hopefully as worried about that thing, Taunt, I talked about Tera Umbreon. Even if he doesn't Tera and he does bring the Umbreon, I want to prevent that thing from going for the Toxic Wish Protect nonsense that it does. So if I can shut that thing down, that's going to be massive. And overall, I like Coach, right? I like Cinderace. I've never used it. I want to hit my moves. But if I can hit my moves and I catch a burn or something like that on them that's going to be massive. And just great speed tiering overall. outrunning Iron Treads, the Zarude, the Gyapdos, things like that is going to be appreciated this week. Mon number 3, I can't talk, sorry, we just had our baby, and I'm very sleep deprived, so you have to stick with me through my stutters and whatnot. Mon number 3 is going to be TikTok Croc, right? Old Peter Pan. Kind of a wonky set. 152 in my attack, 236 in my SPDF, and then 120 in my speed with a careful nature. Knockoff, EQ, Skitter Smack, and Scale Shot with the Moxie ability. They have a Raging Bolt. I gotta bring my ground type. We are max, or almost damn near max SPDF with our AV. So we can take 3-hit KO from Dragon Pulse, I believe, after rocks or something like that. Basically, we just can take a hit from Raging Bolt, and we have the Scale Shot. Now, granted, we may only get 2 hits, but if we get the 2 hits, we're going to be able to outspeed everything else naturally. If they let it go down, and I get the Scale Shot off on the Raging Bolt, and I pick up a KO, obviously we get the Moxie boost. Skitter Smack is going to be there for something like the Zarude, which we don't normally hit, or naturally hit as well. Knockoff, just great coverage, right? Forces damage, gets rid of items. EQ, very similar. Gotta wear down the Primarina though. Gotta wear down the Primarina. I know I had the P-Jab on Shifu, and I think if I can get just a little bit of damage off on that Primarina, EQ at +1 for Moxie is doing a fuck ton. So realistically, I think Crook could be a win con in itself if I can hit Zapdos Galar. If I can wear Zapdos Galar down, Crook could be a win in itself. So really excited to test Crook out this week. Another mon that I felt like I had to bring is going to be AV Mushu, my Gudra Hisuian, running Counter, Draco, T-Bolt, and Flamethrower. 192 in my HP, 252 in my defense with a bold nature, 20 in my special attack, and then 44 in my speed, running the Sap Sipper ability. AV Gudra Hisuian, pretty close to max HP, 192 in it with the AV. I think it's Dragon Pulse is a 4-hit KO from Modest Booster Raging Bolt, and that's just insane, right? Being able to take that. They could be running Earth Power, but I'm expecting Thunderclap, maybe Volt Switch, or T-Bolt just for consistent electric damage, because you could try to wear down the Crook. You could be even something like Body Press, trying to catch the Crook on the switch in that way. Maybe a little bit less reliable than something like the D-Pulse and the Draco. Long story short, I think you just got 4 move syndrome, so I wouldn't be surprised if you don't run something like the Earth Power and you're stuck to the D-Pulse or the Draco or something like that. If we could switch this in on a Draco, getting it -2, that makes Crook drop so much easier. And very similarly, if we could switch Crook in on a Draco and then it gets -2, then Gudra Hisuian switches in just completely free. My moves are really nice because with the counter and my max defense, bold nature, we live a CC, I believe, from Scarfed Gyapdos, and then I've got the counter to hopefully pick up a KO on that thing, surprisingly, trying to open it up the Crook in the back that I talked about. The T-Bolt and Flamethrower hit everything else for relatively neutral, if not super effective damage, right? Being able to get big hits off on the Primarina, or at least a chip damage, so EQ could pick it up from Crook. T-Bolt, kind of hard for my opponents to switch into. You could go for the Treads, but again, you don't want to switch in Treads on something like a Gudra Hisuian, who could have a Body Press, or could have, you know, what other kind of move, Ice Beam to hit it, sorry. And then Draco, I'm just going to fire off a big Draco. So hopefully in tandem, Crook and Gudra Hisuian can really shut down the Raging Bolt this week. Something else that hopefully can is going to be my Toothless, Terra Poison, Citrus Berry Hydreigon, Stealth Rocks, Draco, Terra Blast, and Earth Power. 32 in my HP, 156 in my special attack, 252 in my SPDF, and then 68 in my speed with a Calm Nature. I would love to get Rocks up. I think Rocks would be monumental in this match because I could not only break sashes, but talking about a Gyapdos, kind of limiting Crook, I kind of expect that thing to be Scarf this week, maybe even banned, right? So it's going to take 25% as it switches into Rocks. Raging Bolt, Iron Boulder, any kind of chip damage that I can get off on those things as they switch in, possibly more than once, is going to be appreciated. Primarina, a little bit of chip. With my Calm, Max SPDF nature, Let's see what it says here. Basically, Surf is a 3-hit KO from Max Modest Primarina, so that's awesome. The Terra Blast Poison is a 2-hit KO. Earth Power is really hard for my opponent to switch into. Yes, you have the Mesprit, but you don't know if I have the D-Pulse. I have the Draco, which will hit just as hard, but it kind of plays into the mind game. Terra Poison, if you want to use Treads to switch into it, I've got the Earth Power. Earth Power Bob's Boulder, Bolt, Terra Poison for Zarude, Bramblegas even. And then most importantly, Terra Poison, not only is it a good defensive typing for stuff like the Primarina, the Zapdos Galar even, unless you've locked yourself into Brave Bird, it shuts down Toxic Stall Umbreon. I'm not running Taunt on it, but you can't Toxic me. So if I can just come in and then you are Terra Poison, I can click the Earth Power, hit you for super effective damage. I do have to watch out for the Calm Mindset that week. But if that is the case, hopefully I can get in, coach, and taunt you and kind of prevent that, shut that shit down. And then the last one this week is going to be Rocky Helmet Ponyo. Flip Turn, Liquidation, Zen Headbutt, and Pain Split. Max HP, 8 in my attack, and then 252 in my defense. Impish Nature. This is my Gyarados check, right? Gyarados check. It makes Banded CC like a 3-hit KO. You're getting Rocky Helmet chip damage. If you're banned, you're taking Stealth Rocks. If you're Scarf, I can easily eat that shit up, right? So I'm giving you more chip damage, right? I'm able to flip turn out as you bring in something like a Primarina, just getting a little bit of chip damage off in itself. Pain Split I think is going to be kind of cool if I could catch something like a Band set or like a Scarf set, getting big damage off on me on the Mola, and then I'm able to Pain Split it back up. Similarly, you go for the Banded CC or the Banded Thunderous Kick, and I go for the Pain Split on the incoming Primarina the following turn, or a full HP Raging Bolt as you think you're going to be able to Volt Switch around or something like that. I think it just could be pretty nice. Zen Headbutt, I preached about Terra Poison Umbreon. I think that could very well be a ring, so that could be nice, but it also gives me a way to hit Gyarados for some solid damage. Hits Primarina, who's not known for being physically bulky. Hits it harder rather than I would with like a Scald trying to fish for a burn. Flip Turn, just great momentum, obviously. Liquidation, solid stab. Maybe I've got it in against the boulder. Alamola's attack is 75, so not the worst thing in the world, but not the best thing either. So looking at it, I like my matchup. I think it's not bad. I don't think it's the best in the world. I think that we have a couple key ways to win. I think that Crook can very well win if we can wear down Zapdos Galar. I think that me and Xiao can win if we can wear down Primarina. I think if we can kind of get that stuff done, taken care of, and maybe even we go for the P-Jab the first time hard on the Primarina, so where I can just click the triple axle or I can just click the CC. I think we have a great chance of winning. We just got to watch around for those things, right? We got to pay attention to crits. We got to pay attention to damage rolls, see if they're Scarf, see if they're Specs, obviously pay attention to Booster. But yeah, I really like my matchup. I like the team that I've built, and I'm excited for week 1. So if you are excited, remember the match goes up tomorrow on Saturdays. Team builders will go up on Fridays. I love you. I wish you nothing but the best in life, and I'll see you tomorrow.